They're committed, working every day on the roads and the highways and in the neighborhoods of Natchitoches Parish. They are the Natchitoches Parish Sheriff's Office, whose job is to actively serve our citizens and enforce the laws of our community.
Ultimately, the foundation of all policing and all sheriff's offices is the patrol division. So any improvements that we've made, we typically try to focus those improvements on patrol, because patrol is the front line, and that has the direct involvement with the citizens of the parish that we owe these responsibilities to. We keep that in mind every day, and we try to acquire resources to enhance their mission. And in that regard, we're constantly trying to upgrade equipment that they need, and upgrade the deputies themselves in terms of professional development, academic education, and setting standards that they can meet.
The NPSO has over 120 full-time deputies and 25 reserve deputies serving our parish. These women and men are academy trained and certified to perform their duties at the highest standards of professional law enforcement.
Well, being a police officer, you know, there are those people that are very excited to see you and respect what you do, and then there are those that aren't so excited to see you. And you have to deal with several personalities, several situations, several environments, if you will, because being Natchitoches Parish is predominantly rural. There are some little towns that you have to deal with that are more populated.
It could be anything from a medical emergency assistance, vehicle accident, thefts, burglaries.
Well, my day consists of coming to the office and checking paperwork, searching for any warrants or subpoenas that need to be served, and handing those out to our shift, and then just answering any calls, patrolling our zones. Each of us is assigned a particular zone throughout the parish, in which we answer burglary calls, theft calls, civil complaints, anywhere from vehicle crashes to cows out, dog complaints, just about you name it.
We do anything from frequent patrols around the neighborhoods to building checks to answering the calls and traffic enforcement. So pretty much anything out there we can get into, we're going to get into it.
The Patrol Division travels throughout Natchitoches Parish 24 hours a day, covering over 600 miles of roadways, working to keep our citizens safe.
We do work the interstate. That's about 50 miles. I think we got just about more interstate through these parishes than anybody else.
Natchitoches Parish, geographically, I think is about the third largest parish in the state. We're 1,440 square miles. Very big, rural parish, but there's someone living pretty much all across every part of it.
When you're a road deputy out here, when you're working for the sheriff, I mean, sometimes your duty calls for other things than arresting bad guys. Stopping and checking on a senior citizen, or somebody's just outside in their yard, you just stop and visit with them a while, you know, because there's a lot of people that live way back off in the woods. And so you got other duties to do besides hunting and arresting people and putting them in jail.
In addition to standard patrolling, the NPSO's Criminal Patrol Unit is very visible in the community to deter criminal activity. Their mission is to apprehend felony criminals who are endangering the lives of law-abiding citizens.
We are a two-man unit assigned by Sheriff Jones to aggressively patrol roadways throughout Natchitoches Parish, also I-49. We aggressively enforce traffic laws that may lead to the detection of some type of criminal activity that may be including drug arrests, wanted person arrests, stolen property arrests, gun seizures, etc. Quite often we intercept narcotics entering Natchitoches Parish from Texas, from South Louisiana, from various parts of the United States. We have, in the past couple of years, have made several meth lab seizures in the parish, and it appears that there's more abusers using methamphetamine now. A couple years ago, we were patrolling a roadway in West Natchitoches Parish, and we initiated a traffic stop. During that traffic stop, we seized over 40 pounds of suspected marijuana, arrested 4 individuals involved in that. From there, it was rolled over to Houston, Texas, where additional approximately 80 pounds of marijuana was seized, and 4 of the suspects were arrested in Houston also.
When a felony crime occurs, the Investigations Division of the NPSO is dispatched to the crime scene to interview the victims and witnesses and to collect evidence needed to build a criminal case for prosecution.
We are charged with the responsibility of investigating felony crimes, also misdemeanor crimes, crimes against persons, things of that nature.
We don't specialize in any certain area, so during the course of a day we may get a call for a low-grade investigation, or could be something, pretty serious.
Well, the majority of our reports come in from the patrol division, who initially go out on calls. A lot of times we get walk-ins. At that point, we'll do an offense report, and we'll supply the victim with a copy of the offense report, and then proceed to follow up with the report.
Typically, the patrol generates the reports as they go on calls through their shift. And they complete the report, and it channels its way up through the investigations division, and it's assigned to one of us. We take the report, contact the victim, and begin to do whatever work is necessary. If it's a burglary or a gun is stolen, we try to obtain the serial number, place the serial number into the NCIC computer as a stolen item, and begin to follow whatever leads are available for us to follow on the case. Typically, we are the crime scene unit that arrives to make photographs and lift fingerprints and collect DNA for evidence. And at times we even make the plaster casts of footprints or tire prints.
The majority of the time we do work hand in hand with the district attorney's office. In a lot of our major cases that do go to trial, we are summoned to appear in court to testify on behalf of the victim.
Since becoming sheriff in 2000, Sheriff Victor Jones has worked diligently to increase the size of the force, including adding investigators who specialize in internet-related crimes against children and other high-tech crimes, such as identity fraud.
The sheriff has employed 2 new investigators that have been assigned to the investigations division. They are referred to as a high-tech crime unit. They handle all of our internet crimes involving child pornography and things of that nature.
What we do is when we gather information from the Wyoming Toolkit in reference to child predators looking for children, we recover an IP address. And through the IP address, we then try to monitor their traffic directly related to moving in or taking out child porn or anything related to the indecency of a child.
Monitoring and tracking sex offenders are a critical mission within the NPSO. Over 100 convicted sex offenders live in Natchitoches Parish. The Sheriff's Office has a full-time investigator on duty to monitor sex offenders and to ensure they're not living or working near schools or parks.
Well, my title is Sex Offender Coordinator, and I make sure that convicted sex offenders living in Natchitoches Parish stay in compliance with the current laws. Anyone who's been convicted of sex offense that anywhere around the world who comes to live in Natchitoches Parish has to register with the local sheriff's office. It's state law. And in registering, that means he has to give us all his personal information, including vehicles he drives, where he lives, where he works, who lives in his home with him, if he uses the internet or has email or Facebook access. You may have gotten a letter before in the mail that tells you there's a sex offender living in your neighborhood. We require that they have to pay for the postage. Anything that changes in their status, if they get married, a new person lives in the house, if they start a new job, quit a job, it's almost like probation or parole. There are variations in it, but some sex offenders, especially if they've been deemed a child sexual predator, they can't live within 1,000 feet of a school, junior high or lower, elementary, junior high, or daycare, or a nursery, public park facility, any place where kids congregate. They can't live within 1,000 feet of that.
The Narcotics Division of the NPSO is dedicated to getting drugs off the streets and removing dope dealers from our community. In the ongoing fight against drugs, the NPSO has partnered with other law enforcement agencies to form the Natchitoches Multi-Jurisdictional Drug Task Force.
When I started out in narcotics, the main drug was marijuana. We progressed from marijuana to the crack cocaine, which ended up being very devastating, not only to the communities but to the nation as well. We advanced from that to methamphetamines, which is a big problem. I'm sure you've seen and heard about the meth labs and across the nation. Now we're seeing it shift somewhat from the meth labs to pharmaceuticals or prescription drugs. Our job is to investigate mid to high level drug trafficking here in the parish. It starts out with maybe a phone tip, or maybe someone walking in off the street, or maybe another police officer alerting you to possible drug activity. The investigation is then launched, and it progresses to a point where we always hope we end up with an arrest and conviction.
There are situations that occur in law enforcement that require rescue and recovery operations. The Special Response Team of the NPSO is comprised of deputies who are trained divers who rescue victims and recover evidence during a water-related incident.
Special Operations responds to special incidents such as a drowning, a lost victim, vehicle crashes that involve entrapment. Mostly it's water-related issues such as drownings or lost people out on the lake. Water rescue, we have diving equipment that consists of underwater wireless communication. We also have underwater side scan sonar to locate items underwater that we may be looking for.
I'm on the rescue team with the dive team, and we go out and train. With that, I'm a sonar operator, which is a side scan sonar. We can pretty much take pictures of anything underwater. We had some equipment, but it was very outdated equipment. Sheriff Jones has let us build tremendously on our special response needs. Water operations, when I first came in the Sheriff's Office, we had one small boat. As you can see now, we have four other watercraft to go with it. Our jaws of life and our airbags and stuff like that are all new that we've acquired under Sheriff Jones. Our underwater communication equipment, our sonar that the sonar's requested statewide, that we've been all over the state with that, and also into East Texas. Sheriff Jones lets us respond to any agency that calls for assistance. He lets us respond to it. Associated with the Sheriff's Office, basically everybody in the Enforcement Division has some knowledge of the equipment out here, and like I said, once this equipment rolls, we usually notify the fire district in the area to assist us, and we also have volunteer firefighters that are here locally that will go out with us and assist on any specialized rescue operation.
Maintaining criminal case records and serving arrest warrants are some of the duties of the Records Division of the NPSO. The Records Division is also responsible for preparing criminal files for eventual prosecution.
We have a records division in the Sheriff's Office. That division is managed by a division chief. Records is responsible for all information flow, all transfer of records, preparation for trials, anything that arrest records, arrest reports, anything that's part of the mainstream criminal justice system to make sure that is as seamless as possible as it moves to the district attorney's office and ultimately to court.
What we do with warrants, when somebody comes in and want to make a complaint on somebody and actually have them arrested, we have what we call a warrant package, and our warrants officer helps the person to fill out that warrant package. From that point, we send the warrant package and that person up to the district attorney's office for them to review to see if it's anything that they would prosecute or actually take to court. We get a ruling from them on what the charge would actually be, and we actually type up the warrant for that person and get it ready for the judge's signature.
Also, the Records Division interacts with victims of domestic violence and assigns arrest warrants in domestic abuse situations.
We do have quite a bit of domestic violence. Most of the time, the victim does not have to come in to file a warrant. When we go out on that call, if we see any evidence that a crime has occurred, we swear that warrant out for that individual if that subject is already gone, or if they're there, we pick them up at that time. So it's on the officers to do the paperwork. And actually, they also get a restraining order with that.
Domestic calls they are calls that you got to use a lot of caution in, because most of the time it's involving husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, and what do they hate the worst? And see the police drive up and get in their business, you know. So you have to use a lot of caution on them. But if you roll up on one, you know, you do have visible injuries, then we don't really have to have the victim's statement or word that wants to press charges. We're allowed to press charges ourselves, and therefore it goes into the court and, you know, it goes before the judge.
The officer actually swears out the warrant for that person's arrest. The victim does not have to come in to do that. We have what we call a Louisiana Victim Notice and Registration Form that is given to that victim. And what that form does is actually track that offender. If they fill out that form, they'll know when that person was arrested. Then we take that sheet and we put it at the jail, and once we arrest them, when that person gets ready to bond, we notify that victim that person is getting ready to bond, you know, just in case sometime they try to go back out, you know, to the scene or whatever. But they're also served with a protective order by the judge while they're still incarcerated.
The Civil Division accepts payments for fines assessed by the district court and ensures that persons are properly complying with various court orders.
I handle all the misdemeanor probation cases. I monitor my clients and make sure that they are, of course, paying their fines and that they are completing the classes or anything that is court ordered. I also do the felony probation court fine collections, and I accept the ticket collections, and I do all the cash bonds.
Sometimes the court orders a person to participate in classes to help them make better decisions in life, and the Civil Division manages these alternative sentencing measures.
Sometimes they are sentenced to, depending on what their charges are, to mental health classes, driver improvement schools. Most clients have to attend a MAD class, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. It's a victim impact panel.
Enforcing the law and protecting our citizens are the main goals of the Natchitoches Parish Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Victor Jones and over 150 deputies are diligently working to keep our parish safe and protected. With the continued active support of the citizens, Natchitoches Parish will always be a great community to live, work, and to call home.